Hello everybody, welcome to Facebook Live. Just adjust this a wee bit because the lighting's a bit strange. I've just found this place. It's like in the middle of St. Patrick's Cathedral. I was going to hold the camera for the whole lot of it, but I knew my arm would get sore, so I had to put it on a platform. I was going to do it inside, but I'm going to do it here. Today I'm going to talk about how to improve yourself and how to be more aware of yourself and how to learn about yourself through your social interactions. And what better way to do this is to have a social interaction myself while on this live. And I'm going to be joined by a good friend of mine called Jonathan Navarrete, who's just joined, just as I said his name. So I'm going to try and invite Jonathan now. I hope, if it works. Here's... Jonathan, if you can maybe send a request to join the broadcast, because there's no invite button. There's normally an invite button you can send. So see, can you do that? Let's see if he comes on. There's no add button for you, Jonathan. It could be something to do with the fact that you are on the laptop. Maybe it doesn't work off laptop. I don't know. But maybe, Jonathan, try and join on your phone and see if we can get something going that way. And then go horizontal on your phone and we'll see what happens. So what we're going to try and get into is when you have a social interaction, when you're talking to somebody, you're making all the stuff that's inside you real. Hello, Aurora. Hello, Rose. Thanks for joining. And it's not real until you say it out. And what better way to say it is to somebody else. You're like a mirror to yourself when you're saying it to another person. Because you can have all the thoughts circulating in your head to be like, oh, what am I going to say? Am I going to say this? I'm going to say that. Oh. Or you can just say it out to somebody or say it out to a mirror, like saying it to yourself. It's like a social interaction as well. And the best interaction is actually with yourself. It happens on a daily basis. Let's see if Jonathan can get back on this. Yes, there's that beautiful add button. And I bought for time absolutely brilliantly there. Adding. Jonathan!
Hey bro, how you doing?
What's up, Jonathan? Okay.
Very good, and yourself,
so
man?
because of all this this hectic and out of place arrangement that went on, we're gonna do some slight breathing just to ground ourselves, because then we can go off in the air, we can go off loads of stuff, but I just want to ground ourselves first. I'll introduce you just before we start that. So Jonathan is somebody who last week I had an amazing interaction with. 2 weeks ago, was it? 2 weeks ago we had an amazing interaction
around 2 weeks ago,
about Jonathan's story and about how both of us have used social interaction to overcome some of our pain and some of our trauma in our lives. It's been really powerful for us. Jonathan's from Ecuador. He moved to Ireland 2-3 years ago.
2 years and a half, something like that.
Yes, okay. So I was right with the 2 or 3. It was 2.5, so we're fine.
2.5 almost.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we're going to do 5 breaths and we're going to just ground ourselves into this, because this is a really powerful concept that is going to be really beneficial to a lot of people. So we're going to inhale for 5, hold it for 3, and then kind of exhale as if you're letting everything go. Okay, so we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, and inhale. Hold for 3 and exhale. And inhale again. Okay. Now I feel in my body and my unconscious, so it's great. Hi Beck, hi Kevin, thanks for joining. So I'm going to start, and I'm actually going to get an introduction from you, Jonathan, on how you feel social interaction and talking to people has helped you to maybe become more aware of yourself, and how you turn to that through your life to help you.
Okay. Well, basically for me, like social interaction, it's basically everything. Like it had taught me like how to make friends. It had taught me like how to be present in the moment, and it had taught me how to develop awareness in myself and how to keep improving my social skills and how to create a strong bonds, as we were talking the last time. And we all have done through by basically learning and experimenting in myself and learning from other people and reading a lot of stuff and watching a lot of videos.
Yes. You got into social dynamics as well, a lot, as I did as well, learning from real social dynamics, the boys from RSD, RSD Julian, RSD Tyler, RSD Max, teaching how to interact in a pickup community, but also it's very applicable to just everyday interactions, not just for pickup, but for your social interactions with your boss, with your friends, with your family. And it's really good to figure out what you're doing wrong, because I feel that whenever I'm speaking to somebody, it's like I'm speaking to just a mirror. And when I'm talking to them, I feel like I'm receiving the other person, but I'm also receiving myself. And then I'm giving freely from that receiving. And that's where creative flow comes from. So many of the stigmas and many of the massive internal blocks that I overcame was to do with social interaction. When I was back in college, back in my secondary school, back in my primary school, I thought social interaction was just to serve a group or to serve another person rather than serving myself. So I thought to go into a group, put on this image or a character of what they wanted me to play, and that would allow them to connect with me. But they were not connecting with me, they were connecting with the character and the persona that I was playing. So I always felt that that was the way to socially interact, until I started to find out what I really loved to do and who I really was. I started to go in more on the path that social interaction is actually for myself first, and then it's to express yourself to another person in that way, because that is what connects you. That is the human connection. You can have the human connection where it's you speaking your truth, it's you expressing fully, or you can have that character that you're playing to get validation and to be a people pleaser. And that was a huge part of my journey that I felt I really was able to connect with and overcome. Very difficult. Went through lots of different trauma. But when you go and talk to somebody, when I even go and talk to somebody right now, I'm just showing myself fully. And that's through vulnerability. That's through if being congruent with my state, if I'm in a happy state, if I'm in a sad state, if I'm in an angry state, if I'm in a completely excited state, if I'm in an aroused state, to express from whatever point and whatever place you feel most vulnerable in, and just express that to the other person. And that creates a container for them to express to you as well.
Well, basically, my story is a little bit similar like yours, but the thing is that for me, my brains work in a different way. It is more analytical. So basically, what I have been studying allows me myself to fully express the way that I want to express the emotions and the feelings that I want to express, but I make through basically an structure mainly. For instance, like I've been reading books about psychology and people from Chile and people from Spain, and what I have learned from them is like that you have to really pay attention on the people, what he's saying, the way that they talk, the way that he moves. And for instance, something that is simple, like have a strong eye contact. because before for me
Yes.
it was difficult to maintain eye contact. And for instance, I can also link that because I love to draw. And for instance, when you are drawing, you have to pay attention to the small little details that the eye has. So that allowed me, for instance, to concentrate in what the people are saying and try to understand what is really the people saying. And with that, I can create a better connection with the other with the other person. And in that way, it helps me to understand myself. So it's something as simple as it could be like eye contact is very important to have a connection with the other person, and I can relate whatever things that I am learning through what I'm doing. For instance, like drawing, as I said, example. When I'm in front of a person, I want to focus in the color of their eyes at the beginning to quiet my mind and fully pay attention to the other person. So what I do is like try to look them into the eyes and see what is the color of their eyes and what is the detail that have the eyes. So that in a way helps me to quiet my mind and pay attention to the other person, because it is boring if you don't pay attention to the other person, no? Because the person are very interesting. For instance, my father also taught me that people are like books, but the way that the book open, as in the person, is going to be totally different for me, for you. So I want to really want to understand the person that I have in front of me. Like the last time that we were talking, you come up with a with the example like seek to understand to be understood, which
Yes.
is like very important if you really want to create like connection with other person. And for me, those things are, I think, fundamental.
Yes, that really allows you to create deeper connections. So
Mhm.
I feel that you can have a surface layer connection where there is no eye contact. You're looking around and you're not even connected with what the person's saying. And because you're not connected with what the person is saying, you're barely connected with yourself when you're saying that. So
Mhm.
I feel that, of course, with the eye contact, that's a great point. If you're able to maintain eye contact with somebody, it shows that you're able to fully show and be present with yourself. And if you notice, or if anybody on who's watching right now notices that if you can't maintain eye contact with somebody, what feelings come up? What do you notice about yourself? Is there something that you're suppressing, that you don't feel you can be honest with this person? Because it's always creates more issues for you if you are having eye contact with somebody, or a lack of eye contact, and you're not showing up fully yourself. And the thing is, our unconscious is amazing. It can pick up if you're getting that connection. It's like you'll get sensations, you'll get feedback. Your body will show you that the other person is tuned into what you're saying, or you're tuned into what the other person is
But
saying.
but it's also but it's also interesting because, for instance, like we have sometimes the that little voice that say that, you know, like why don't you say that? But you are so repressed that you don't want to say that. But
Yes.
sometimes when you allow yourself to express that emotion, that word that you want to say, it just make a click with the other person.
Yeah. It's from that most vulnerable state. It's from that most vulnerable state that somebody connects with you. That's the thing. Yeah, exactly what you said. It's when you are showing up. Like, even if you have a huge trauma going on in your life that you're going through, and you're talking about football that happened last night, but your state is incongruent because you're overcoming trauma at that time, just be honest with how you're feeling. Create the context of why you're saying something. Because a lot of the time it's not what you're saying, it's why you're saying it.
Why you're saying
That is what really connects people.
For instance, like there is a book goes like Triple Attraction. Triple Attraction. There are like two psychologists, and they are talking about like for it's just a simple trick that you can use like, and you can experience that. Like for instance, put in your mind like in your brain like I am attractive as a mantra,
Yeah.
and see how does your physiology start to react just with that, and your reticular activation system is going to find cues and ways that see, oh, I'm attractive because I do this, because I do that. And just because putting that frame in your mind, the tone of voice is higher, your body language just change a little bit, and the way that you express is more congruent. And it's just because you already know those things. You already had, because when you were a kid, you were like that, you weren't overthinking about all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah,
But
you're
yeah,
just saying it out.
social conditioning
Yeah,
is like suppressing us, and it's difficult to express or allow ourselves to express in the way that you really want.
yeah.
But for that simple exercise, you can try it, and you can notice a little bit like change in the way that the people react towards you. And it's super interesting just how that how does like reticular activation system work in your brain. Like it's very interesting that.
Yeah, it allows it, especially when it's exactly what it's exactly like you said. It allows you to just when you're just focusing on yourself and what those internal sensations are telling you, rather than what maybe you've been told to say. So it's what we've been told to say versus what you really want to say, and connecting with that allows you to connect with the other person. So if you have, say for example, perfect example is when you have a social interaction with a girl, and
Hmm?
you think that by saying everything that you want to say to express yourself to her, rather than listening and receiving, that is a way to connect, but it's not. It's actually through listening and receiving from them and then giving yourself fully is how you create the connection. And actually,
And
I've gone through this with a client before, because he was going out trying to talk to a girl, and he would be putting on this persona that he was a real cool fella. He had everything right in his life, everything was going great. But it's like the girls could pick up that he wasn't congruent. And when I went through an energy session with him, he went out in the street and he just said that I'm after overcoming something huge there in my life with my mother, that my mother neglected me when I was younger. And he actually found that the girls connected more with that side of him than him putting on the persona. It was very powerful, like how this can happen. And this is the truth.
I think like
This is how
it is
you are
difficult.
congruent.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
think it's like that's very difficult because you think that the most things that you want to say to the other person, the more that you qualify with the other person, the person is going to connect with you. But I think so that is like a huge mistake that most of the people do, and I'm doing like when I want to connect with the other person, and I'm like, oh, I want to really connect with the other person, and you start to qualify, and give everything, and there is not the space
Justify yourself all the
for
time,
the
yeah.
other person to know each other. At the skills, everything, like
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely true. It's like I do it myself as well. Oh, yeah, I do it myself as well loads of times, and probably still am victim to doing it sometimes, especially with like social interactions. That if you have somebody, this is a perfect example. I was at an event on Saturday, and there's a lot of great creators that I've looked up to for a long time, and I had thoughts circulating around my head to go, oh, I have to justify myself to this other person for them to like me. But really, they're just people as
yeah.
well. They're still humans. And if you justify yourself, it actually nullifies the connection. Because what I ended up saying, what I wanted to say was, oh, your stuff has really inspired me, like la la la. But what I actually wanted to say was just, you have been a huge inspiration to me throughout my whole life. And this is what I do from that. This is who I am. And they connected more with that than me just fanboying them and saying, oh, you're great and amazing and I'll tell you a joke to make you laugh. It doesn't come from there. It comes from a place where you're just being yourself fully and having self-respect and self-love, and that allows them to connect with you. Even if you're in an incongruent state, there's nothing wrong or there's nothing quote unquote bad about going up to somebody and saying, I was really nervous to go up and talk to you right now. I have feelings going on in my body that's really telling me like this. I'm really nervous and incongruent with what's going on. And that allows you to stay present. That allows you to just be yourself, and allows you to connect with the other person by doing that. And like even going up to a girl and saying, I feel like I came over to you because I am really attracted to you. I'm really attracted to how you express. I'm really attracted to your smile. Like these things, these are real expressions. These are real things you notice about the other person that you're commenting on, rather than putting on a persona like, oh, you're so beautiful, and like looking all around like this. Like it's very difficult to connect like that. Just play the most congruent character, which is yourself.
What is helping you now to become more congruent?
What has helped me now is just actually saying out what the feelings in my body are. So going up to somebody, and if I say hello, or I ask the questions that allow them to connect. So I won't ask, how are you? I'd rather ask a question like, how are you feeling today? Because that is more congruent for me to connect with the other person, because I get the context of them. And then when they ask me how I'm feeling today, I tend to not give a generic answer. I tend to be there for about 2 or 3 minutes saying what's actually going on in my life, rather than saying, oh, I'm grand, I'm fine, yeah, just, you know, just another day, just getting on with life, like, yeah, it's grand, yeah. But I want to connect, so I will say, I feel pretty fulfilled today, but I'm noticing that since I started talking to you, I feel like a big sensation coming on in my chest area. I feel a big sensation coming up in my colon, and I don't know what it's related to. Or you might say that I haven't seen you in a long time. Like, say if it's somebody that I haven't talked to in a long time. I haven't seen you in a long time. I'm actually feeling really nervous to express myself to you right now. I'm finding that a lot of what I'm expressing is coming from our past relationship rather than the present relationship that we're having right now. So I tend to be honest and create a container for that, because that allows me to stay present, for me to be vulnerable, and to create a space for them to be vulnerable too.
Oh, that's very interesting.
How do you find in your social interactions that you kind of express yourself and allow yourself to connect with others on a more deeper level?
Well, it is I can relate that more nowadays with dancing. For instance, when you are dancing, in the moment that I am dancing now, I don't really want to show off what I'm doing. I really want to connect with the person. So before to start to dance with someone, I try to close my eyes, listen to music, and try to look at the person into the eyes. And as you said, like, try to feel the other person what is feeling. And sometimes when I feel that the person is super like stiff, I can say like, chill, relax a little bit. And then like through breathing and feeling the music and feeling my heart, like feeling the beat, and I start to dance, is the way that I connect now. I can connect now throughout all the person. However, if I am interacting with other person, like without music, I need to, first of all, like look in the eyes. That is very important for me. Look them in the eyes, and then I can see like what is the mood of the person, what is the body language, and I am mirroring them. Like I'm using that like rapport. I'm building rapport through their body language. I'm copying their body language movements, and I'm trying to match the tone of the voice that they are using. And then when they are relaxed, we can communicate in a better way.
Yes, I feel that's a great way, and I feel that when you're speaking to somebody, just to build on that, to have that, to meet them at their level. So whatever level they're at, if they're feeling sad, if they're feeling whatever, empathize with that, understand it, and then be understood, as you said earlier. So if I empathize with what they're feeling, then I can understand their state, I can understand the context of them, and then I can express from that part. And it actually goes, if you go deeper here, sometimes if I'm talking to somebody and I see that maybe I don't feel congruent with what they're talking about, or I feel a bit disempowered by that, I will voice that. So I think that conflict in a discussion is perfectly natural. If you feel that if you don't feel full self-respect, or if you don't feel like you can be congruent in that atmosphere, say it's a very shaming atmosphere that the other person is trying to shame you, I think it's perfectly fine to raise that and to not allow yourself to be triggered by that, and to just address it by addressing what feelings are in your body. And that actually allows you to maintain full self-respect. And of course, that might be rejected by the other person, but if you are respecting yourself, then that is the most important thing first. Because if it's disempowering you, if you don't feel you're being empowered, and if you don't feel it's a value exchange anymore, then it's perfectly normal, it's perfectly natural to separate from that.
Okay, it's very interesting that
Yeah.
to hear that. Well,
But I love what you said about dance as well.
we're talking.
Dance is such a powerful medium as well for just connecting. Like when you're just connecting through dance, even without words, you're giving and receiving from vulnerable areas, because everything's on show. It's just your body expressions on show, and that's a really deep connection. Rather than behind words, behind a language, you're expressing your body, and it's like expressing your unconscious to the other person.
How are you like nowadays, like becoming more aware about yourself, um and how can you express with other person that, how are you doing that?
Oh, I am I am becoming more aware of myself every day through listening to my body. Every day
Okay.
listening to the most important parts, so listening to my breath, listening to my heart, trying to receive messages from what I'm saying internally. And then
Hmm.
once I'm able to, because anytime I don't feel present, anytime I don't feel like I can't focus on right now because there's something else going on in the background. Maybe I'm worried about what's going to happen today. Maybe I'm thinking about what happened in the past. And I will explore that by listening to sensations, going through them, separating from them, or embracing them, just accepting them, letting them go, and then transcending them. So that is used in a context with other people, because when I am present with my state and with my emotions, I feel that it's very powerful with other people when I can come from a place where I'm just in a present state with them. Because we have, like, there's loads of social interactions that I've had, I still have them sometimes. Like, there's nothing perfect about this, and I'm sure you have this too, where you're talking to somebody and you feel you can't receive from them, you feel you can't listen because you have something else going on in the background. You're like, ah, I left the friggin' oven on, or damn it, I've got to do this tomorrow, I've got to do this later on, and you can't connect with what they're saying because you're too busy stuck up here. You're too busy thinking about what's going on and stuff that's not right now, rather than actually being present with the person, showing them respect, and actually receiving from them.
Yeah, what have helped me nowadays, like to become like more fully present, is like through meditation. That's
Yeah,
have helped me like a lot. Because as I told you, like my brain is very analytical, and I start to overthink. Like as you said, like, oh, I have something in the cooker. Oh my God, I forget to do this stuff, do that. And like the horse in my brain is like super wild, running around, and I cannot communicate what I really want to communicate with other person. However, like meditation have helped me like to kind of tranquil that horse, like, and kind of tame and be more present. And through breathing, as you said, also is very
yeah,
important for me. Also, like pranic breathing is like the most cool thing that I ever have done. Like, and meditation is one of the coolest things that I ever discovered. It's really really interesting, that, and allows me to feel my body rather than being outside, like super far from my body.
yeah,
And people also help me a lot to me, like to become more aware. Like people is like the thing that have not the thing. People are something that really have helped me to become more aware about myself, because through their behavior and the interactions that I have with other people, I am learning all the time. The
yeah,
way that I speak, the expressions that they are using. For instance, now now I am like with English, it is a little bit more difficult, because in Spanish I was able to, the last time you told me that you are paying a lot of attention to the words that you are saying to be more aware what words are you using. But now, like with English, I am almost reaching that level, because in now it is a little bit difficult, like sometimes, to pay attention the words, and then pay attention the body language, and then pay attention what they really want to say, and what is the message that they really want to say. It is sometimes it becomes like too much information. However, the thing that have helped me like a lot is like to be fully present in the moment, and then just my subconscious allows me to process the information in a better way, rather than being like focusing in just the person, like, oh my god, what is he saying? Is he saying that? It's not that, wow, super like, oh, all over the place. So like being present in the moment have helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And as I told you, like dancing like salsa and bachata have helped me like a lot also. It's a way of meditation for me, you know, like
Yeah.
as you, the water for me is that. And reading also have helped me a lot.
Yeah, I know. And Jonathan reads you leave an awful lot of books. Loads of books, loads of videos every single morning, information, information, information. All in
Yeah,
English as well, so
yeah,
you're getting lots of it.
yeah, all the time in English. Now, as you said, as you saw the last time, I was also like writing. Now I'm doing my journal.
Yeah.
That also have helped me like to become more aware what I'm doing, because like I've been doing um, I've been doing a lot of things that I wasn't aware. You know, like before, like meditation, I was like fully focused in the other person. That allowed me to be present in the moment. But when I moved back to Ireland, I started to learn English, and you have to listen your voice all the time, because you are speaking in English, and at the beginning you start to translate the words, and you weren't paying attention the person what he's saying. You were just paying attention like the words what the people are saying,
Yeah.
and it doesn't allow me to communicate. For instance, like before, like we were talking, like the first time that we met, I I wasn't able to understand you what you were saying. It's not because you had like a strange accent. No,
It
no.
was like speaking rapido, rapido, rapido.
Super rápido, rápido. No, no. It's because I didn't have like the level of English that I wanted to have. It wasn't like proper one. So now the last time that we met was like, oh my god! It's the first time that I can understand you. So I was like, go back and forward, back,
Yeah,
back and forward, back and forward, and
absolutely.
and like reading and writing, and people have helped me a lot to become aware, and like that's how you create like relationship. And I am now more focused in create a relationship with myself, and then I can fully express myself with other person, because before I was just fully focused in the other person. But when I moved to Ireland, I was like kind of quote unquote alone,
Yeah.
because it wasn't with my family in my social circle. But when I moved here, it was like, oh my god, who is that person? Who is that person that is in front of the mirror? Oh my god.
Yeah.
But then after a while, you kind of understand. But like meditation have helped me a lot. That was like, boom, blows my mind.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's great, Jonathan. I think we're going to leave it there because I think we've said it all. I think
Okay.
you have really overcome a lot through social interaction and through your awareness, just as much as I have. And I just want to say, just before we go, that I acknowledge you fully, Jonathan, for all the work that you have done in this, to find yourself, to be more present, to allow yourself to be vulnerable to me and to everybody on this call through your own journey. And that allows people to connect with you on a level that is just completely beyond any other character that you could play or that I could play. And that is the truth. That is what really connects you with everybody else and with the world and with yourself. So if anybody's watching this who's my friend or who's Jonathan's friend, listen to what Jonathan has to say. Connect with him on Instagram and on Facebook. And he's a great guy, great dancer as well. So any girls out there, if you want a dance partner, Jonathan will lead you down the right path.
Well, I'm still learning. I'm in the process of learning. Every day for me is a learning. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
start like I start in baby beginners. You know, like I was like doing the basic steps like all the time,
Yeah.
and I'm still learning. You know, like, but I really love that, and yeah, I love to connect with people also. It's cool.
Yes. We are learning and
Sure.
we are learning, connecting, and growing all the time. Okay, Jonathan, we'll speak to you soon, brother. Thanks everyone for joining.
Brother.
And if you want to leave a comment or you have any questions, write them below, and I'm sure we'll get to them in the next few days. Okay? Peace out, everyone. Love everyone. And we'll speak to you soon, Jonathan.
Ciao.